The first thing you have to do as a brand new entrepreneur is learn all the mistakes of the entrepreneurs who came before you. You might think, Alexa, why am I learning mistakes? Why aren't I learning the silver bullet tactics that actually made them revenue? And the reason is because if you want to be a real entrepreneur, if you want to have profitability, long-term profitability, you can't just keep doing the silver bullet short-term tactics. You have to learn all the mistakes that have actually made us who we are, because my mistakes and challenges and failures are why I have built an 8-figure empire. And in this video, I'm going to actually share with you the exact 10 top mistakes that I've made in my career that has made me who I am today and has literally made my empire. Hello, everyone. My name is Alexa D'Agostino. I'm the host of ThynkTank's YouTube channel, where we bring you real problems and real videos from real entrepreneurs. Yes, this means I've actually done what I say, and I'm not a fugazi. I'm actually a real entrepreneur. And today we're going to be discussing my personal top mistakes. This is not stuff you can make up. This is literally mistakes that I have made in my career that have actually, and I'm going to explain why, have made me who I am. And everybody always is scared about making mistakes and challenges and, roadblocks, but you're going to fail. The reality is, as an entrepreneur, I actually fail more than I succeed, but I always fall forwards. I never fall backwards. And that's the most important piece. So let's jump in. Mistake number one is picking the wrong business partners. I've actually picked more wrong business partners than good business partners. And that's the reality. As I've gotten older, I'm 17 years into this now, I've learned how to pick the right business partners. But even like last year, I still picked one bad business partner, right? And the truth is you have to remember the three type of people. You have the strategist, you have the connector, and you have the executor. I'm the executor, which means I need a connector and a strategist. But here's the trick. You might find somebody that's a strategist, but sometimes strategists, they're in cloud nine a little bit. And what I have learned is that I need a strategist. But what I've also learned is somebody that is 100% a strategist drives me crazy because they don't actually do any work. So I need somebody that is a little bit of both, right? Mistake number two is trusting people too much, which means you're leading with your heart and not your head. Now, you don't want to lead too far with your head because then you're pretty heartless and you're just making business decisions off your head. And the reality is you do need a little heart in there as well. But sometimes when you lead too much with your heart, I do this all the time where I lead so much with my heart that I'm putting people before profits. And sometimes you've got to do that, but if you do it all the time, you're just going to be broke. So you've got to find the balance of leading with your heart and your head. The third mistake that I've made in my career is overstaffing because I was way too confident. And there's been times where I've built a company up and I've overstaffed because I'm like, oh my God, we have all this business coming in without realizing, hey, I might lose business. I might not keep this momentum up of getting all this new business. And the problem with that is that you become overconfident, you overstaff, and you think, okay, it's fine. I need one more person, I'm going to make all this money. But the problem with that is you're overstaffing, and that's a big problem. The fourth mistake is not asking for help, guys. The end of the day, you have to ask for help. Why? Because you can't do it by yourself. You're trying to get to a destination. You've never been there before, and you're trying to figure it out on your own. You're spinning your wheels trying to figure it out on your own. So by asking help, you're asking for a roadmap of going to the destination where you're trying to be, because what you want to do is ask help from people who've actually been to where you're heading. It will speed up the whole process for you, and it will allow you to get there so much quicker, because otherwise you're going to just run out of gas, right? The fifth mistake is caring more about profit than your staff. And it's kind of an oxymoron to mistake number two. But the difference here is that in the past, when I had my first company, before I exited my agency in 2014, we were making a lot of money. We were doing really well. The problem was I was working my team to the bone because I cared more about profit. So again, it goes back to you have to have a balance, and you can't care more about profits than your people, because your people are what actually make your profit. So you've got to make sure that you have that balance. Mistake number 6 that I've done is keeping people on the payroll too long. Again, it kind of goes with mistake number 2 of leading with your heart. But at the end of the day, you have to have a policy. If somebody screws up once, okay, that's probably because you didn't train them enough. If they screw up twice, it's probably because they're not paying attention. They screw up 3 times or more, then now it's on you, right? So you have to understand at the end of the day, you're running a business. It's not personal, and it's the hardest thing in the world to have to let somebody go, but you have to, because because if somebody is taking profits from you because they're not efficient, they're not doing the job, or they just don't care, you got to let them go. It's the hardest thing, but you got to do it. Mistake number 7 is not taking relationships serious. And what I mean by that is, at the end of the day, building a business is all about relationships. It's relationships with yourself, with your staff, and other people. And the most important thing is building a stream of revenue from people that you've built relationships with. Now, this could be clients, this could be referrals. I have a lot of contractors and consultants that don't do what I do, but they have clients that are my ideal clients. And what do? I bootstrap their audience. And what do? I give them a kickback, right? And it's a win-win situation. So I've spent a lot of time building these relationships, which now gives me all of these different revenue streams, which then takes the pressure off me to go find new business. Now they're doing it for me. Number 8 is probably my biggest mistake, which is not setting expectations with clients up front. And the problem is, when you don't set up expectations, what happens is you have a client who builds their whole entire expectation themselves. And then what happens with that is they think they're getting something and you think you're delivering something else. And at the end of the project, they're not getting what they think and you think you're delivering what you're supposed to. So it's so important during the onboarding process to make sure you set up expectations. Hey, here's what you signed up for. Here's what you paid. Here's what you're going to be delivered. Sometimes, depending on what the project is, we actually even make clients sign off on it. Hey, here's what you're going to get. And not only do we have it in a contract, but we also have it in an onboarding proposal where we say, hey, here's what the next couple months is going to look like. And we actually make them sign it, which makes them accountable to what they're going to receive. So at the end of the project, if they're not happy, that's on them because they signed that this is what they're going to receive. Mistake number 9 is a big one. And this is actually probably the biggest mistake I see most entrepreneurs make, and it's not doing lead generation consistently. So you are doing really well, money's flowing, you have great profits, you're making great money, and you let your walls down. This is what happens all the time. You make a couple sales and you stop doing lead gen because you're so busy doing fulfillment. And then all of a sudden, those clients are done. You have no clients. That is inconsistency of income. And if you really want to have a profitable business, you have to have consistent income, which means you have to constantly be doing lead gen. And that can mean different facets. That can mean advertising. That can mean content creation. That could be, getting appointment setters in your social media to set appointments for you. You have to consistently have conversations. The more conversations you have, the more money you make. So make sure to consistently have somebody. You can hire somebody out of the Philippines or India or Pakistan for a couple $100 a month just to keep your inbox going and keep conversations going and driving them to appointments. It's not hard to do. It's just finding somebody and training them to do it appropriately. The last mistake, and probably one of the biggest mistakes, is not setting up processes and automation. We just talked about not being able to consistently do DM setting. The reason why is because most of the time you don't have processes in place. So you're going to have a lot of turnover in an appointment setter, for example. And if you don't have processes and automations in place to train these people, it's going to eat up your time. And then you're going to be so sick of finding new people, training new people. What we do is we do an onboarding process. We actually have an entire course that we make people go through that literally tells them who I am, who our company is, what our avatar is, how we do lead gen, how we do social media. It literally teaches them everything and takes it completely off. So yeah, it took me probably a week to set it up, but now it's saving me hours and weeks and months worth of work because I'm hiring people almost every other day. And so what it does is it allows us to say, hey, here's a course, take this course. When you're done, ask your questions. And it literally tells them everything A to Z on how to do their job. And it takes it off me to have to actually train them to do the job. All right, there you have it. Those are the 10 mistakes that I have personally made building my 8-figure empire. And I hope that this helps you to avoid those same mistakes, because these are 10 deadly mistakes that can literally put you out of business. So it's so important to understand not just the silver bullet tactics that are going to make you revenue, but also the mistakes that can actually shut your business down. I hope this was helpful. And if you have not already, hit the subscription button so that you can get all of our videos every Monday. Well, I'm going to